Will, first, congratulations getting to the Blue Cross Bowl. Let's talk about the achievement in 2 years to get this team back to the Blue Cross Bowl.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty amazing deal, we took the job knowing what Ravenwood had been and knowing what we felt like it could be. I mean, I grew up in the community. I know, the community members and the type of players and students that go to that school, and, you knew it could be good again. And no one really knew why it wasn't what it was, and I don't know that I still know why it wasn't what it was, but I know that the kids weren't necessarily believing in themselves, but we obviously had some pretty good players come through there the last 2 years, and now they've back to the point where they believe they can be successful, and they've come together as a team, and it's pretty special, the deal we've had.
Was that the biggest thing for you of getting, you bring in all the X's and O's, but the biggest thing was just getting them to believe in themselves again?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing in coaching in general, There's a lot of guys that win a lot of games that aren't your best X and O guy, and then there's a lot of X and O guys that get their tail beat every Friday night. I think it's all about and I say the Jimmies and the Joes, but the relationships. The kids didn't care what I knew about football until they knew that I cared about them as individuals. And I think that's truly where it starts. And I think that they found out that I cared about them and I wanted them to be successful, and now they'll play as hard as they can.
Now you were at Seago's assistant, you were at Laverne as assistant, and as a head coach. When you left and went to Brentwood, did you think, I want to be a head coach again?
Well, you obviously have a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth about how things went. And, you're a little disappointed in the outcome of some of the situations. And, you always hope that that's a goal again, but I knew that it had to be the right situation, and I had to have the right staff. I think that's the key. There's a lot of great coaches out there, but you can't do it by yourself. And, especially at a 6-day program, all the moving parts, we're talking about 150 athletes that we're dealing with on a daily basis. And, to be successful at that level, you got to have a lot of good help. And, I knew that I couldn't do it if I wasn't in the right situation where that help was going to be there. And I was blessed enough to have the opportunity at Ravenwood. Dr. Vaden was my assistant principal when I was a student in high school at Brentwood High. So we knew each other, and she made the commitment. We got 11 guys on staff besides myself, so the commitment's there, and the rest is kind of history, I guess.
We talked about how the players have to buy into it and have to believe in it. Did you have to kind of believe in yourself again after losing at Laverne? You took a couple of years off the line. Did you have to kind of regain, say, hey, I can do this. I can win. I can be a head coach again. Or did you know all along, hey, given the right shot, I can?
We're all pretty arrogant when it comes down to it. But the years I spent with Coach Crawford, I obviously knew some things that I did poorly, and I knew some things that I thought I did well. And then spending 2 years with Ron at Brentwood gave me that opportunity to learn from a guy that I respect a whole lot and has done a lot in the game, and I think does it the right way. So I was able to learn under him for 2 more years and kind of hone what I thought how a program should be ran. And then Mark Pimden was there for 1 year, and I was his defensive coordinator, and that got me an opportunity to lead his side of the ball again and really kind of affect the game again and see how those kids react to me in a leadership role of an entire group instead of just the offensive line as I had been with Ron the first 2 years. And at that point, I was pretty certain that, I still was going to be able to do this if the right opportunity came.
The itch had come back and say, I'm ready to do it again?
Absolutely. And then it had to be the right situation, My family's pretty much settled in Williamson County. My kids love going to school there. My wife works in the area, and I'm from there, and I knew that if I was going to do this again, I was going to do it in that community with the people that I see at church and in the grocery store every day. And the opportunity came at Ravenwood, and I was definitely excited about the challenge.
When you were at Laverne, I think even as an assistant, you were kind of the first one to bring the fast tempo spread attack there. Now it's kind of caught on there. Just talk about how you kind of made that thing really kind of your staple of your offense.
Yeah, when we were at Laverne, we were probably a little more pass happy than we even are today. It was 4 wide, and we were throwing it all over the place, and we've had some good quarterbacks go through there. And, we were kind of the first ones that did that. I was a defensive coach prior to taking over the offense at Laverne, and I was always intrigued by the spread offense as a defensive coach. And I was studying it, in the offseason, that kind of stuff, and then had the opportunity with Coach Thomas to do that. And, it's kind of stuck, and now you got the Craig Claytons and the Scott Blades of the world that are now moving into the area. They were some kind of the next ones to really throw it a bunch, and now everybody's doing it. We almost need to go back to the old wishbone if you're going to be different these days.
Are you still, I guess, I know you've developed a pretty good running attack, so I guess you're more closer to 60-40, 50-50 more now that what you're doing?
Yeah,
now?
It truly is, with Van and Austin Percy on the perimeter. We get some pretty funky coverages from time to time, which, it benefits us to run it a lot. it's really going to depend on how the opponents try to come at us and whether we're going to run or throw. I expect Maryville to be who they are. That's kind of Georgia's MO. They executed a high level on both sides of the ball. I don't think they're going to have to do anything extraordinary to try to defend us. So, I expect it to be pretty straight up. So I imagine we'll play that same way. It'll be pretty even run pass, I would say.
You're the next in line to get that shot at Maryville. What does it mean to have that shot to play them and knowing what's at stake?
Oh, I think they've been the number one team in 6A all year. They've been the team to beat since they walked on the field. Obviously, until somebody knocks them off, they're going to be the team to beat. And, there's something to be said for beating the team that everybody wants to beat and being that team to beat them. Sure, I would have loved to have played Oakland, my college roommate, and that kind of situation. But, as far as these kids and trying to place their spot in history, to beat Maryville would mean a whole lot more to the state of Tennessee than for us to beat it in Oakland. So our kids are excited about the challenge.
From what you look at film, what is it? How do you beat them?
Well, you got to truly beat them. They're not going to beat themselves. They're not going to be like we saw in the semifinals, and we're not going to have 4 interceptions and that kind of stuff. They execute at such a high level. I think that's what separates them from everybody else is how they're able to execute in crunch time when things are on the line. So we're going to have to play our best game. We're going to have to find some way to take the ball away from them. Maybe find some way to create an extra possession, whether it be a fake punt or an onside kick or something like that. We're going to have to find a way to do something special, and then we're going to have to play our best. Our kids are excited about the challenge, and we've kind of been under the radar, a little bit of the underdog all year long. And
you like that role, probably.
It doesn't bother me one bit to be that way. And our kids kind of thrive off that. So even if we weren't the underdog, we'd tell them we were, just because they like that so much. So our kids are excited about it, and I can't wait for Saturday to get here.
You're kind of going home in a way, going back to college home at Tennessee Tech. Talk about that chance to go back to that field.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. Things have changed a lot up there since I graduated 100 years ago. But I lived in a house that you could see the end zone from for most of my time there, and it's going to be exciting. I've never been on the side. They've switched the home side since I was there, so we'll be the home team, so it'll be on the opposite side than where I'm used to. So it's going to be different, but I'm excited about it. I actually had to ask my wife this morning if I was supposed to really come to this thing, if it was true that we were in this game. So, it almost seems a little bit surreal, but the way these kids have played, I wouldn't bet against them.
Love you, man.
Thanks.